Musician and comedian Weird Al Yankovic is coming to the island. Get ready to laugh and sing along when he takes the stage on Treasure Island Amphitheater on June 28th. Tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at TICasino.com.
Okay, so there's just so much with the Covenant catch-up with
40 minutes.
Alex Stalock, former Wild goalie, Blackhawks goalie, Sharks goalie, so on and so on. But sources tell me that you are going to be doing some analysis for Sharks TV. Is it Sharks TV this year?
Radio.
Wow. So, how'd you fall into that? And I know you came into the league with the Sharks, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you had wonderful years there, know people and stuff. You've retired, but what's the process to fill in or whatever you're doing?
Yeah, it kind of transpired this summer. They had a media member or a member of their broadcast team that took a job elsewhere, and it opened up a position. And they were trying to figure out the best way to go about it. And one of the team services representatives reached out asking if it was something I was willing to do.
Hell yeah.
If I was still playing, where was I at with that?
Yeah, what you need to make.
Correct. That was first discussed numbers.
Yep. Well, we researched average analysis radio
NHL
income over the last 5 years in the NHL, $6,500 a game. So
I started asking at that.
I have no idea what it
but
is.
most importantly, Scotty Emmert reached out from San Jose, and he was just curious where I was at with playing, and I told him I was done unless the Sharks needed a goalie, and there wasn't a door open there. So
so they didn't get Jumbo Joe to do it, like Marlowe.
They didn't have enough on their cap to get me in there. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And it would have been fun to get billeted by Jumbo and Patty. They're billeting two of the young studs out there this year, so it'll be a good experience for those kids.
Where's Pavelski these days?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, so did he retire?
He did, yep.
Okay, last played with Dallas.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, he was tough as nails with Dallas, too, even at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And Joe Thornton, you've told me about this in days gone by from when you played with him, but he's like one of the most popular, being popular while authentic, meeting high-end skill on the ice, meeting size. I mean, he just checked every box authentically, right?
I think that's a big word for him. Authentic is what the biggest word a lot of people would say about him. Jumbo was Jumbo. He had a Jumbo personality. He had a Jumbo body. He had Jumbo everything.
Yeah.
He had a Jumbo heart. He was ultimate leader, ultimate guy to look up to coming up as a rookie. He made you feel like you could just be yourself. You could be Alex Stalock. You could be Joe Pavelski. You could be wherever you are from small
Logan
town.
Couture.
Logan Couture, yes. And that's what made that locker room so special. And
Paul Martin,
though, shout out Elk River.
Yeah, you were with him there, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That was a sweet team.
Yeah,
man.
they had a fun run to the Cup Finals in 2016. Unfortunately, they got traded out that year, but it was fun to follow that. But back to the radio thing, it worked out. We're having 6 ex-players chip in throughout the year, and some guys are going to take the home games. We got a player that's taking all the East Coast games. I'm going to try to do a lot of the Central games.
Sweet.
And, it's worked out good, and I start up here in Dallas in about a week. So
wow,
game 1 in Dallas.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, how beloved are the Sharks when things are going really well? I mean, just like anything else, it'll fall off if you're having tough times. But that vibe out there, you spend it out there. We were talking about Anaheim last segment. How popular are the Sharks when things are good?
Oh, the Bay Area sports market is elite.
It's unbelievable. The Shark Tank, when things were good, I mean, the years I was there was incredible. Playoff hockey is there. It's loud. The buildings... It's not a big building, and it gets loud, and I think you ask a lot of players that have played there in big games, and it's one of their favorite places to play. And, hopefully they get that back soon. They obviously have had some high picks. They got some high-skill guys coming in, and they're trying to rebuild. And it'll be exciting to be there to watch the games and call a few and, kind of check in where the players I played with in the past are at.
Have you ever done work like this?
I did one in the American League for about 7 seconds. I tried doing play-by-play, and that lasted about 7 seconds.
Okay.
I had to go back to color.
Well, how'd you end up doing play-by-play for 7 seconds?
We had.
Just like,
I was injured at the time, and in the American League, he's doing multiple duties. He's doing team services. He's doing radio. He's doing travel. He's doing food. And he might have got caught up doing something else. He said, "Here, take over."
Like Joe O'Donnell did with Iowa.
Right.
Yeah, he
correct.
did a million things.
No one knows his open door policy was incredible down there.
Wow.
Joe. He had an office with no door, so the open door policy with his office was unbelievable. I was in his office every day.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, Joe's the best, and he's doing.
Are
a
you
great
going to
job.
unfurl elite lines like that on the air?
I'm going to try to. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
See how long I last. I'm slated to do 8 games. It could be 1 or 2.
But if your Vox doesn't roll with them, it's going to piss you off.
Right. And then Dan, I think Dan knows there might be a sarcastic side to a few of the game calls, but I'm scheduled to be on the plane from Dallas to Chicago to Winnipeg, and maybe I go home from Chicago. I don't know. We'll see. My goal is to make it all the way to the end of the trip. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. You're watching NHL hockey, and instead of being on the ice or where I spent a lot of time, like 65 feet from the crease on the bench, front row, I'm 300 feet in the air now.
Okay, well, so therefore, like at the end of a play, play stoppage, are you going to, with or without the headphones on, walk off to the corner of the room, kind of mess around, and then come back? The way you would skate to the corner,
right,
recalibrate, and tap the boards.
Yeah, I know, I'm glad that's over with. But
are you really glad that's over with?
I am.
You know what I'm saying?
It was easy
you went out on
decision
your
to be
own
done.
terms.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It was. I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Being a full-time dad, being a coach.
It's good for you.
At youth hockey level. My daughters are getting into sports now too, and it was time. When I was young, the older guys, they said, when you're done, and you half listened, half didn't. But it turns out a lot of those guys were right when you were young, and you're listening to the older group, and they were right about a lot of things they said.
Yeah,
it was time. It was a fun run. I'm lucky that I got through it to 37. I didn't know if I was going to do it until I was 20 or 25, and every year was a gift. And it was a fun 15 years. Or whatever.
What was Felicia's reaction when you officially? This is it.
Behind closed doors or in front of my face?
Both.
I think there was fist pumps, double fist pumps for both.
Daddy's
no,
home.
I think she enjoys having me back, but it's we're learning how to I got nothing to go other than radio now, and figuring out a path that will work.
But you know what, Al? It's interesting you said that, because I remember doing a Faith and Goal podcast with David Backus right after he retired. And, man, he opened a vein just about legitimately how tough it is. I mean, sure, absence, sure, there can be in relationships, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, you're going to be in the middle. Absence can make the heart grow fonder. You can go on the greatest vacation ever or whatever. But where your life is predicated, as long as his was, as long as yours has been, on the competitive nature, the locker room, the conditioning, just what goes into being a pro athlete, snap your fingers and have it be gone. That ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, having your mind wrapped around, this is a transition. There are going to be some difficult times in it, and is that kind of how you look at it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nothing's easy coming out of a career like this, and whether it's football, baseball, or any profession that you've been doing for that long. And it's going to take time, but enjoying being around the family. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's well deserved, well earned, and it's time to be a dad and a husband.
Give us another segment, okay?
Absolutely. We got 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Alex Stalock with 9 to noon at Trier Rink. Minnesota Wild morning skate is over. They take on Columbus this evening, 7 o'clock on KFAN. Back after this.
Man.
It's the playoffs. Come out to Mall of America this Sunday for a playoff championship series watch party from 1:30 to 3:30. The game will be streamed live on the big screen in the Huntington Bank Rotunda with tons of fun prizes and games for all ages. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Alex Stalock, 9 to noon. Connor Bedard. What What's his deal?
That
good is
was
he?
the reason I signed in Chicago. They wanted the first overall pick, so they brought me in, and it turned out really good for Chicago. And they ended up with Bedard.
Yep, for sure.
I got to go to the preseason game when Chicago was in town and watch them firsthand. That was the first time I've seen them play, and the skill level of these young guys now is so good. It's incredible. And
so when you were in Chicago, he wasn't there? I thought he was.
No, we earned him when I was there.
Oh,
so they got the first overall pick the year after I left.
Right, but there was
he
somebody.
was just a rookie last year.
Yes,
correct. Yeah,
but there was a super high ender who's young there. I thought certainly
there's a defenseman as well, Kevin Korchinski.
Yeah,
what about Kirby Doc?
He was traded to
Doc's
Montreal.
the tall guy, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
by
the blue line was terrible when you were there. They can't have anybody good on the blue line. The blue line was terrible when you were there. At least, me, big analytics guy, PHF, Pro Hockey Focus.
Right.
I'm on all those numbers.
You got that StatHead subscription?
Yeah, I'm just riding it from afar. Okay, cool. So your first game that you're going to call on the radio is at Dallas, and when is it? Like next week?
Yeah, next week. I should.
That's going to be sweet.
I want to say Tuesday.
Okay.
In Dallas.
Is it cool if we call you occasionally when you're on the road?
Yeah, during the game, like you said, you're FaceTiming during
when you're on the road. So maybe we can come up with a line, or we can something that you can drop during the game.
A word that has to get used multiple times.
Like
a code phrase,
like antithetical.
I need to get in the dictionary for that one.
What if you're at one of these places and the road to the adversary, not the Sharks, what's the Burnsville kid's name who plays goalie
Ottinger?
So not that. Okay.
Lakeville.
Yeah, Lakeville. Thank you. Ottinger's the bomb. But say you're at a place where they're using the backup goalie and he's terrible, and he's been terrible like 4 games in a row. I mean, you can just unfurl into, why in the hell am I up here? Why am I not you? Why am I not playing your spot? I'd be better than you.
Sorry, Dan, my phone's buzzing. I got to go downstairs.
E-bug and radio. E-bug radio, though.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. All right, let's the Minnesota Wild, from what you know, Kaprizov, Eriksson, the bomb, Hartsey. I know you know Hartsey really well.
Moose, Spurgey. It was fun to go watch those guys. What
do you think of the squad?
Great. They were great that night. They beat up Chicago pretty good, and I think that it's a good group. They've been together for a while. They got obviously high-end skill. Their power play that night looked unbelievable, and obviously they got depth at D, and they got extreme, deep depth at the goaltending position. And I think the whole state of Minnesota is obviously excited, not only with what's going on with the Vikes, but now it's the start of the Wild season, state of hockey, and it's a great time of year, and it's a great time to be a Minnesota sports fan.
Let me ask you about the goaltending thing. With three on the roster, I was talking to Gorg about this earlier, talking about Burnsville goalies. That was Gorg for sure.
Burnsville, yeah.
But with the 3 on the roster, like, were you a guy that needed regular action? Could you chill for a week and then just bounce in there and toss a shutout? Because of just balancing Flower and his career greatness with Gus Bus, hopefully in Gus we can trust again, with Jesper being up. Like, balancing that seems like it's tricky to me.
I think mentally I thought that I could do it. I could get a shutout every night and get out there, and it was an easy game. But then you get out there, and physically it's a whole different animal. And I needed to work. I was not good enough, not even close, to compete with some of these guys. And I needed to be, like we just saw Flower at soon to be 40 years old, and I know he doesn't like hearing that. But how hard he worked at the end of practice by himself out here for 15, 20 minutes. It was.
Fleury and I both turn 40 actually next month. Similar outcomes.
Yes.
Yeah,
and he's still at how many wins, how many Stanley Cups? He's still out here, the hardest working guy on the ice, and that's the way I felt. I needed to work, and I think practice is where what you carry into a game onto the ice, and you can't just show up in the NHL in the best league in the world and expect success. So he's a great example. You talk about Gus and the year he had here. The numbers he had was unbelievable, and I know the Wild as an organization want him back to where he was. And that's not only the goaltender position; that's the whole group. You go down with injuries, a key injury, your captain goes down, and that's a big void to fill. So it looks like they're going into the season healthy. I know they're an excited group. They're energized to get going, and what a way to face off against your ex-coach on the other bench.
Well, I don't. One thing I'm not understanding, and it's admittedly, most likely a complete L on my part.
And
okay?
Pro Hockey Focus.
Well, right. I didn't go to PHF into the season to look at Marc-Andre Fleury's preseason numbers up to this game, but it was Fleury out here, with the players who are going to be inactive tonight, like Liam Ogren. He'll probably be in the press box, so on. How do you not start Marc-Andre Fleury not only in the season opener but in the home opener? I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, now granted, I haven't followed it super closely in the preseason, and you have those three goalies. I mean, saving him for. Would you have any idea?
My guess
it's HOF, bro.
You had Coach Hines on, you had the GM Bill Guerin.
I didn't ask either. I thought it was a sin.
See, you saved it for me. You saved the tough one for me. No, I think my guess is Coach Hines and Billy. They've sat down with Freddie Shabbat, the goaltending coach here, and all the coaches.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm sure they have a plan, right? There's a plan going in. It wasn't sitting in a room pulling a name out of a hat. I'm sure they have maybe the first 5 games, maybe the first 10 games laid out how they want it to.
Yeah.
What makes sense. Maybe who has better numbers at home, who has better numbers on the road.
Okay.
There's a back-to-back coming up.
I haven't looked at what their back-to-backs are.
Maybe he has bad splits against Sean Monahan over the course of his career. Monahan's good, but
he spent most of his career in Calgary, so I don't know with Fleury and Pittsburgh.
James Van Riemsdyk. But it seems like he's been around forever. Holy cow. Mm-hmm. No Boone Jenner.
But yeah, my guess is they have a plan. They have a plan set up.
Well, of course they have a plan.
Obviously, plans are going to change.
Jack Johnson.
I learned at a young age everything's subject to change. So, It's looks like I don't even know. I mean, look, who's getting the official nod tonight?
I have no idea. Normally, 9 to noon breaks that with the coach in the opening segment. Fallness puts it out on Twitter, makes fun of Russo that 9 to noon, beat him on the information, and that's just kind of how the box in the box cycle goes. But
I haven't checked what you call
it's Goss.
The X machine.
It's Goss. I mean, if it's not Fleury, it's Goss. I mean, it's ladies and gentlemen, starting in goal. Yeah, I guess it could be.
It could be.
Okay. Your football team. What do you think of your football team, the purple and gold?
A fourth grade Stillwater tackle, or the
fourth grade Stillwater tackle. And what position is Simon playing?
Corner, offensive line.
No, they throw a lot at that age.
We do have a nice bubble screen that's effective here.
No, I'm saying the adversary. It's like I knew in 4th and 5th grade when they put me a corner. It's because I didn't want to tackle, and they never threw.
Yeah, they keep telling Simon, get wide, get wider, get wider, get wider. Another foot, he's on the sideline.
Right.
Where he ends up a lot, but it's fun. They got a good group of kids, and in 4th grade, it's high intensity, high speed football.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch now. But the other team is
your pro team's 5-0.
It's been unbelievable. It's
been sweet.
Yeah, it just seems like a good group, a tight group,
big time.
That really enjoy each other, really being around each other.
Culture, the culture word is overused. It's trite, and it's not used in the right way sometimes with culture. Seeing it, feeling it, being next to it, and knowing the change that has taken place with new players in there and stuff like that. It's real. It's real with this football team. They have a wonderful, wonderful thing going right now.
That starts with KOC, right?
Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, I would say there. And that staff, then with Kevin O'Connell and that staff, making sure the general manager and the head coach are in lockstep, which isn't always the case in all sports. And then, you know what, with the general manager, I kind of laid this out for Nordo on the radio a month ago. He has self-awareness. He's not going to come out and say it like this, but this 2022 draft, I probably could have done a better job here. But you know what? I'm going to recognize that I didn't do it the right way. And then now we're going to change here. And now we're going to change here. Okay, so that's this year. So look at it this way. If it's the most antithetical, one of the most outside of the box general manager hirings in history of the NFL. Right. My man has a stock background. Okay, well, maybe he looks at players in the NFL for other teams as the New York Stock Exchange. And you look at draftable players, say in rounds 4, 5, 6 Saturday, or the end of round 3, the end of it. Maybe that's the NASDAQ. So why am I going to dabble in the NASDAQ and throw a dart on Saturday when I can go to the New York Stock Exchange, watch film of players with people helping who actually compete at this level? And then instead of breaking the bank on this guy, I'm going to bring this guy in. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Van Ginkel.
Right. Yeah. When the list of free agents was that voluminous and that long, I'm like, this is more than just we want to replenish all these. There's a bit behind it, so it's
genius.
right. It's the guy's unbelievably smart,
yeah.
But the self-awareness and the vulnerability to be able to say behind the scenes or maybe even publicly, like, yeah, could have done a better job with this draft, trading up, trading down. This didn't work, Not everybody has that. He does. Let's pause and chat more and say goodbye to Alex Stalock when we return to Tria Rink on KFAN. Deep stretch, 9 to noon, 3 minutes and change to go. Alex Stalock, former goaltender for the Wild, is here with us. He'll join us during the course of the National Hockey League season to mix it up as he is wont to do. And Mikko Nordo, excellent work producing today, and here he is.
Yeah, and thanks Aaron Sickman and Kevin Fallness for making all of this happen for us, as we don't like change, but we are happy to adapt, and this is kicking ass at Tria. Hey, Mr.
I do like change, by the way. Kevin started that narrative early. Yeah, no, I do like change. I covet change, actually.
Well, sure. I think it was just kind of a simple throwaway idea of being creatures of habit.
Oh, Kevin hates change.
Oh, he does?
Yes. Okay. Spending the entire, yes. He gets flustered.
Hey, fan versus hardcore analysis. How do you balance that? Now, you've been in it. You played for so many years. Now, how much of it, and, talking off air about bringing your kid to a game, is there some rube in you? Because I can hear the rube in you from like a Viking standpoint. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Is the hockey rube? Is that gonna start to come out?
Even when I was playing, I know there's some guys in the league that maybe don't like watching hockey when you get into a hotel room and putting on NHL Network. And I was the opposite. I loved watching games. You get in, there's a late night game on West Coast game, or you put on NHL Network. You can see all the highlights from the night and. I think it was useful for as a goalie. You could see they'd always show shootouts. You knew what guys were going to do, and for me, I was a big fan of the game. I still am a huge fan of the game, but I guess now more it's going to be diving into stats,
pro hockey focus.
Yeah, what they've done in the last 10 games.
CHF.
And, I need to know a lot more, numbers and dive into that stuff. Which
Elias Pettersson Sports Bureau.
Diving into a booklet that's 80 pages long. I didn't have time to do that when I was playing, and you're focused on other stuff, and you knew generally what guys did. This guy shoots the puck, this guy passes the puck, this guy plays physical, this guy screens it. But now it's you're up in the booth, and you need to know exactly what he's bringing that night, what he did the last 5.
Your Vox might have had a bad day. You might have to talk more.
I'm banking a lot on Dan Ruzanowski. I need a lot of help from him in Dallas night 1, so hopefully he stays out of some.
And if he's anything like PA, there will be at some point on air where he'll just go, talk more. Just hand it over.
Yeah, that's happened maybe once or twice. But
how about talk less?
Happen. No, that'll happen off the mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
All right, 3-2.
Locally here, where do you put Kirill Kaprizov when you think about the big timers in this league? If I was a wagering man, I believe he's 8th or 9th in odds right now for the Hart Trophy. So that's where people that put their money on things are kind of ranking. It's McDavid or bust, right? It's McDavid versus the field. But, Kirill, we've seen him in this league now for a handful of years. There's going to be a big money conversation that Bill Guerin and company will have to address to keep him here. Mm-hmm. Love having him as a member of the Wild, but where do you kind of put him in the stratosphere of big timers in the league?
He has to be top 10, and I think you talk about the trophies and the accolades at the end of the year. Obviously, stats, again, we go back to stats, numbers, all that stuff's so important. I think, he's in the picture right now, whether you said he's 7th or 8th, but I think a big thing, the Wild find themselves back in the playoffs. They're in contention for the Cup. Now that brings them up to a whole nother level. And I think, obviously, that's what Bill Guerin, the Wild, Coach Hines are obviously hoping for. And, he's an unbelievable talent in this league. And the Wild do not want, to lose a guy like that. And the fans obviously love coming to watch 97. You go to... I'm entering youth hockey ranks now. Every team has a 97 on it in the state of hockey. And, it says
what about a 32? Any goalies with 32?
There's like 1 or 2, but I think that's Jonathan Quick. That's the other goalies you look around the league.
I would be Stalock if it was my kids.
He's up there. He's exciting. I'm looking forward to watching him tonight on the ice sheet. That's for sure.
We're looking forward to hearing you call games. San Jose, go crazy, San Jose Sharks.
Absolutely.
It's like second favorite team all of a sudden. Good seeing you, man. You look great. Tell Felicia and the family. The announcer says hello, and we'll stay in touch, all right?
Absolutely.
Alex Stalock, good work, Nordo.
Cheers.
Have fun tomorrow on the feast with Russo, and I'll chat with you on Monday. Thank you very much for listening. From Tree Rink, I'm Paul Allen. This was Paulie on the Perch, a form of Vox in the Box. A day the Wild Open with Columbus tonight, 7 o'clock on KFAN. Have a good day.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.